Hello, guys. How are you all doing today? Thank you for being here. Because of all places that you could be, I am so glad that you are here with me today. I'm Barb. Welcome to Halfway to Sane, where together we explore real cases with respect and clarity and curiosity. In a world where truth hides in the shadows, we uncover the stories that refuse to stay buried, and every case deserves to be told. Today, we are going to be discussing the execution of Kendrick Simpson. And on January 15th, 2006, Kendrick Simpson loaded an assault rifle into his friend's car before they went to a house party and then to a club in Oklahoma City called Fritzies. Now, while at the club, Simpson walked by three men who made a comment about his Chicago Cubs baseball cap. The men were three best friends named Glenn Palmer, Anthony Jones, and London Johnson. This comment did not make Kendrick happy, and after stewing about the comment, Simpson returned to the three men and told them that he was going to chop them up, a term he used when referring to his rifle or his chopper. He walked away again, but soon after he returned, and in a gesture of peace extended his hand to Palmer and said, "We cool?" That's when Palmer punched Simpson in the mouth and knocking him to the floor. Simpson and two friends soon after left the club and were at a gas station when Palmer, Jones, and London arrived in Palmer's car. Though it was a coincidence, Simpson thought the men were going to kill him. Simpson then he directed one of his friends to follow Palmer's car and another friend to retrieve his gun. They followed Palmer, Jones, and London for over 3 miles, and when the car Simpson was in pulled beside Palmer's car, he opened fire on them. Nearly 24 gunshots later, Palmer and Jones were dead, while London, he did survive as he crouched down in the back seat. Now, at trial, jurors heard testimony from Simpson's friend about the shooting. Jurors also heard from a man named Hung Pham, whom Simpson had beaten and shot in the face during a home invasion back in New Orleans. Simpson was just 16 years old at the time of the crime, and he did serve 6 years in prison for that. The jury found Simpson guilty of murder and recommended the death penalty. Now, Simpson grew up in the 80s and 90s in the lower 9th Ward of New Orleans, a notoriously violent place where prostitution, drugs, and murders ran rampant. Simpson's mom was just 16 years old when he was born and became addicted to crack, and his dad abandoned him at birth. Now, some of Kendrick's earliest memories as a child included seeing dead bodies, shootings, stabbings, and other acts of violence on the grounds of the projects. Family members began sexually abusing him when he was just 11 years old, and that lasted until he was 16 years old, the same age he was when he fathered 2 children, and also the same age he was when he committed that home invasion shooting that landed him in prison for the next 6 years. About a year after he got out, he was gunned down in a drive-by attack and sustained bullet wounds to the leg, chest, abdomen, skull, and he nearly lost his life. Now, while he was still recovering from the many surgeries that he had to undergo, still using a colostomy bag, that's when Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. Now, by the time he arrived in Oklahoma City, Simpson's life experiences left him with severe PTSD and in a state of fear and paranoia, which was supposedly the perfect stage for him to act out on the night he killed Palmer and Jones. Legal counsel with the Oklahoma Attorney General's office told the board that Simpson is a violent repeat offender who has repeatedly chosen to prey upon others. Now, what mercy did he show Glenn and Anthony? What compassion has he shown for their families? These families have endured an unimaginable loss and have now spent nearly 20 Christmases, birthdays, and other holidays without their loved ones. He said that Oklahoma opened its arms to Hurricane Katrina evacuees, including Simpson, who had an opportunity to start fresh. He could have chosen a lawful path forward, but he chose to hunt down 2 unarmed men and attempted to kill a third. His crime was deliberate, cowardly, and calculated. Now, make no mistake, he followed his victims for miles before he pulled that trigger 20 times. At a clemency hearing, Simpson told the parole board, "I'm ashamed of being a murderer. I am not the worst of the worst. I am not a monster." He said he does not deserve the death penalty. He apologized to the victims' families and to a third man who was in the vehicle when Jones and Palmer were shot. He said, "I apologize for murdering your sons. I don't make any excuses. I don't blame others, and they didn't deserve what happened to them." His attorney wrote in his clemency application, "The death penalty is supposed to be reserved for the worst of the worst offenders. Kendrick and his case represent neither." Now, Crystal Allison, who is the sister of Glenn Palmer, wrote in a letter to the panel, "Do I believe this man should live and be able to breathe and take out the rest of his life behind a cell? He made the choice for him, so I stand here today to make the choice for my family. Yes, we would like to see him executed for what he did. He executed my brother." Despite Kendrick's apology, the parole board denied his clemency. The state scoffed at Simpson's claim of redemption and request for mercy. The Oklahoma Attorney General said Simpson is ruthless, a violent killer who hunted his victims without remorse. And on Thursday, February 12th, 2026, as he lay on the execution gurney, Simpson kept his last words brief, smiling as he thanked his family for supporting him. He said, "I love you all," and Kendrick Antonio Simpson was put to death by lethal injection, and he was pronounced dead at 10:19 a.m. After his execution, Simpson's attorney said he became a prolific poet in prison and was published in the Rose State Literary Journal. Shortly after his execution, they shared an excerpt from one of his writings about Oklahoma's pursuit of his execution. He wrote, "Like a rabid dog, they claim has bitten one too many people. I must be put down." Being murdered for murdering seems like the height of hypocrisy. But since they're murdering under the banner of justice, there certainly must be a difference. His attorney said, in the name of justice, the state chose to extend the cycle of trauma rather than end it, taking the life of a man who spent years learning how to make other lives better. This execution was a profound and unnecessary loss. Crystal Allison, Glenn's sister, witnessed the execution and said she was disappointed that Simpson didn't apologize. She said, "I'm still just hurt and tormented by this. I was tormented again today. Even on his deathbed, he's still smiling." So I know that was short and brief, but I would like to thank you for spending some time hearing about the case. And please remember, behind every headline is a real person whose story deserves to be told. If you enjoyed hearing this and found it informative, then please, if you haven't already done so, subscribe, like, and share. It does help me out more than you know. Put your thoughts down below what you think about the case. Do you think he deserved the death penalty? Did he deserve to be executed? Should it be an eye for an eye? Let me hear your thoughts. Put them down below. And as always, if you have any other cases you'd like me to cover, please put them down below as well. Until next time.